Everyone, today we will discuss about the economic importance of algae. The first one, I have written here all the usage of the algae. The first one is, as I have written here, half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on the earth is carried out by the algae. It means algae fixes half of the total carbon dioxide present in our surrounding by the process of photosynthesis. It means algae are the major carbon dioxide fixers, and therefore you can say it reduces the concentration, the amount of carbon dioxide in our surrounding, in our environment. And nearly 50% of the carbon dioxide is going to be fixed by algae. Second, algae increases the level of dissolved oxygen in the water. As you know, during the process of photosynthesis, oxygen is evolved as the byproduct, and therefore algae increases when the process of, as I told you, 50% of the carbon dioxide is fixed by the algae during the process of photosynthesis. So during the process of photosynthesis, algae evolves more oxygen and it increases the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water, and that oxygen is very useful for the survival of whole aquatic life like fishes and other creatures. Third, algae act as the producer in the aquatic food chain. In class 10th, you have already studied about the food chain, that how food is transferred from producer to the consumers, that is primary consumers, secondary, tertiary and top consumers. In aquatic food chain, algae act as the producer, means algae synthesize the food materials during the process of photosynthesis. Then algae are eaten by, algae means the phytoplanktons. The algae are eaten by the zooplanktons, amoeba, paramecium, euglena. Then the primary consumer is eaten by the secondary consumer, then tertiary consumer, and so on. So always in the aquatic food chain, in the aquatic environment, the food chain is started from the producers, and all algae, they act as the producer. They support, you can say, the whole aquatic food chain, and they are helpful into the survival of all the animals, all the living things present inside the water, that is pond, lake, etc. Algae are used as a food materials. Nearly 70 species of the marine algae, they are used as the food materials, especially Porphyra, Laminaria, Sargassum. These all are the brown algae, and they are present in the marine habitat, and they are used, or you can say they are consumed as the food material. So algae, they are used as a food also. Some brown and red algae produce large amounts of hydrocolloids, that is water holding substances like algine and carrageen. Algine is a product obtained from the brown algae, and carrageen, the product obtained from the red algae, and both algene and carrageen are used commercially because these two substances, they have the water holding capacity and they are used into the industry. They are used as a thickener to emulsify so many products, to make the ice cream, to make the yogurt, and so many products because they are used as a thickener. They are used to solidify the liquid, and that's why algae and carrageen, which are obtained from brown and red algae respectively, because of the water holding capacity, they are used into the industries. Now, there is a product that is a commercial product that is called agar. Agar is one of the commercial products obtained from Giladium and Gracilaria, which are used to grow microbes and in preparation of ice creams and jellies. Agar, it's a very useful product. Agar is also act as the solidifying agent. Agar is used into the lab, into the laboratory condition to grow so many microbes. Whenever agar is used into the petri dish, it becomes a jelly-like structure, and agar helps to grow the microbes in the laboratory condition. And that agar is obtained from the algae. These are Giladium and Gracilaria. It's a very, very important question also for class 11, that name the algae which are the source of agar. You can write Giladium and Gracilaria. Even agar is also used in gel electrophoresis. I will teach you in class 12 to separate the different fragments of the DNA in the process of gel electrophoresis. But mainly agar is used to grow the microbes in the laboratory condition, inside the petri plates, inside the petri dish. And agar is also used in the preparation of ice cream and jellies, because ice creams and jellies both are present in the semi-solid condition. And I told you agar is a solidifying agent. If you will mix agar into the water turns just a gel-like structure because of the presence of agar. So agar is very, very useful to prepare ice creams, jellies and other products commercially. Then the last one, Chlorella and Spirulina. As you know, Chlorella and Spirulina both are unicellular algae, means they are made up of a single cell. And Chlorella and Spirulina are rich in proteins and are used as a food supplements even by the space travelers. The Chlorella and Spirulina, both they are also known as SCP, single cell protein, means the size is very small, they are microscopic in nature, they are unicellular in nature, but they contain huge amount of the proteins. They are generally grow to get the proteins. They are used as the alternative source of the proteins also. It's very easy. You can grow Spirulina as well as Chlorella in a very small place, in the petri dish also, but you can get more proteins in comparison to the cell size. and even the chlorella and spirulina, because of the presence of too much proteins, they are used even by the space travelers, because the space traveler, they can keep the chlorella and spirulina even in a very small container, and they can carry into the space and they can use as a food supplement. So these are the economic importance of algae, and all these headings you have to learn. I have written here all these points, and I suggest you all to note down all these points. All these points I have taken from your NCERT book. You can get and you can learn all these headings. Now, the different classes of algae. Classes of algae. Algae are classified into three classes, and these are chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae, and rhodophyceae. So how many classes are there of the algae? Three classes. The first one is chlorophyceae, then phaeophyceae, and phaeophyceae is followed by rhodophyceae. Today we will discuss about the first one, that is chlorophyceae. The members of chlorophyceae, they are also known as green algae. The members of phaeophyceae, they are called brown algae, and the members of rhodophyceae, they are called red algae. The members of chlorophyceae, the first one, you have to see about their habitat. The members of chlorophyceae, for example, Chlamydomonas, Eudorhina, Pandorhina, Volvox, Eulothrix, Spirogyra, Cladophora, Cara. These all algae are the members of this class, that is called chlorophyceae. The members of chlorophyceae, they are known as green algae. Why? Because they appear green in structure. First of all, you have to learn about their features. I have written here habitat, where chlorophyceae, or you can say the green algae, they are found. The green algae, they are found into the fresh water as well as in marine habitat both. In fresh water, if you will collect a drop of water, the polluted water, and a drop of water, if you will keep on a clean slide, you can observe some of the algae, their whole structure under the microscope. Even from outside also, when so many algae they are present, the green structure, the green appearance in the water, you can observe, and that all greenish structure, they may be algae. Even the algae, some of the members of the green algae, or you can say the chlorophyceae, they are also found on the tree trunk, on the earth where water is collected. So all these greenish structures, the small bodies, they are algae, but the detailed structure you can observe only under the microscope. So as per habitat is concerned, the members of Chlorophyceae, they are aquatic in nature. They may be found into the fresh water as well as into the marine habitat. Now the second one is about thallus organization. Now there is a question that what kind of the thallus is there? As I told you, thallus is the body. What is the structure of the body of the members of the Chlorophyceae? As we use the term thallus, in which the body is not divided into the stem, root or leaf, still it is the body. So what kind of the thallus is there? Some of the members of the Chlorophyceae, they are unicellular in nature, like Chlamydomonas, it is unicellular. The body, the thallus is ranges from unicellular up to the multicellular. Unicellular like Chlamydomonas. The multicellular Stratiaton like Eulothrix and Spirogyra. This is the filamentous form. It is multicellular like Eulothrix and Spirogyra. Volvox, it is synovial. It is present in the which form? In the colony form, and the colony is surrounded by a mucilage coating. So this is the unicellular algae. This is multicellular but filamentous form. This is also multicellular but colonial form, or you can say synovial form. This is the example. The example of synovial algae is Volvox. So as per thallus organization is there, it is unicellular as well as multicellular, and multicellular is further divided into the filamentous and colonial, or you can say synovial. The filamentous body is in the linear order. So many cells are stacked together, one above. But the colonial algae, they are spherical in shape and they are present in the group, and the colony is well protected by a mucilage covering. This mucilage protects the cells from drying. It keeps all the cells inside moist, and therefore they are not going to dry in the scarcity of water. So what is the thallus organization of the members of the Chlorophyceae? The body ranges from unicellular up to the multicellular, or you can say the body may be unicellular or filamentous or colonial. Unicellular examples are also very, very important. Unicellular for Chlamydomonas, filamentous for example Eulothrix and Spirogyra, and the colonial, that is Volvox. Now the third one is about the structure of cell. The third characteristic is the cell structure. What is the structure of a cell? The cell is eukaryotic in nature. As you know, the eukaryotic cell is well developed. Here also all the cell organelles are present. like chloroplast, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus. All the cell organelles are present. And cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectin. Cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectin. Cellulose lies inside while pectin lies outside. Pectin also helps to connect one cell to another cell. So cell wall is mainly made up of cellulose as well as pectin. Cellulose is the inner layer while outer layer is made up of pectin. And the nature of cell is eukaryotic. The cell has the chloroplast also. These all are the chloroplast like this. Chloroplast is present and chloroplast contains the photosynthetic pigments. Two main chlorophyll molecules are found and these are chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Why they are called green algae? They are green because of the presence of the green pigments which are called chlorophyll. And chlorophylls are of two types, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. And both the chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, they are present in all the members of green algae. And where chlorophyll molecules are present, they are present in the chloroplast. Chloroplast is the cell organelle. So in all the members of the algae, whether it is green algae, brown, red algae, in all the members chloroplast is present, which contains the photosynthetic pigments. The chloroplast also contains a storage body. Before the storage body, the chloroplast, they are of different shape. They may be disc-like in appearance, like in the case of Ulothrix. They may be reticulate, just they appear like the network. They may be the spiral. In the case of Spirogyra, it looks like the chloroplast appears like this. This is the spiral shape, and that's why it is named Spirogyra. In some of the cases, it looks ribbon-like structure. So, the shape of the chloroplast varies from algae to algae. As I told you, in some of the cases, it is discoid in shape. In some of the cases, it is spiral in shape. In some of the cases, it is ribbon in shape. It may be reticulate, net-like in structure. And all the chloroplast, especially in this case, in the members of Chlorophyceae, the chloroplast also contains a storage body that is called, so many storage bodies are present, and these are called, this is the chloroplast, and inside the chloroplast, pyrenoids are present. These are the pyrenoids, this dotted structure. What are pyrenoids? Pyrenoids are the storage bodies which stores the food. These are the bodies made up of starch and proteins. The starch and proteins, not only the starch, even the starch is also containing here the protein, and starch and proteins both are mixed together to form a body, a granular structure, and that is called pyrenoid. And so many pyrenoids, they are present on the chloroplast. So it's very, very important. The chloroplast contains pyrenoids, and the pyrenoid is made up of starch and proteins. And these pyrenoids, they are present on the chloroplast. You have to learn. In some of the algae, in some of the members of the chlorophyceae, the reserve food material is oil. It is fat. They present in the form of oil droplets. So this is all about the cell structure. Now the next one is the reproduction. Reproduction in algae, chlorophyceae. Reproduction is of how many times? 3 times in the members of chlorophyceae. These are vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction takes place by the method of fragmentation. Asexual by zoospore formation, and sexual reproduction ranges from isogamy and ogamy. All these headings I have already discussed in the general characteristics of the algae, but again let me to define what is vegetative reproduction. In vegetative reproduction, which takes place by the process of fragmentation, the body of the algae, or you can say the thallus, is broken down into so many small segments, into so many small pieces, and each segment can produce the new body, new organism. Yesterday I taught you about the Spirogyra, either Ulothrix. Their body is going to be broken down into so many pieces, and later on each piece can produce the new body. It's a very simple method of reproduction, fragmentation. In class 10th also we have already discussed. The second one is the by zoospore formation. The zoospores are motile spores. Suppose this is the cell of any algae, and this cell is going to produce the zoospores. Now the cell is called zoosporangium. This is called zoosporangium. And inside the zoosporangium, first of all, nucleus is divides, then cytoplasm is divides, and finally the zoospores are formed. These are the zoospores. Yesterday I have already discussed. These are the zoospores. And zoospores are motile spores. And these zoospores, when the zoospores are matured, the wall of zoosporangium is ruptured and the zoospores comes outside, and each zoospore can produce the new filament, new body. Mainly the Ulothrix is reproduced by zoospore formation. If the spore don't have the flagella, without flagella, the spore is called a planospore. The planospore is formed in the case of Spirogyra. So asexual spores may be zoospores, which are motile, or you can say a planospore, which is non-motile. What is the difference between the zoospore and a planospore? Zoospore is the motile spore, has the flagella, but a planospore is non-motile spore, have no flagella. Zoospores are produced where? Inside the zoosporangium, while a planospore is formed inside the sac that is called a planosporangium. Suppose this is the cell, and this cell is going to produce the a planospore. Now this cell is called a aplanosporangium, and this is called aplanospore. When the wall of aplanosporangium is ruptured, aplanospore comes outside and aplanospore can produce the new filament. So asexual spores may be zoospores or maybe aplanospore. The sexual reproduction is ranges from isogamous to the oogamous. It may be isogamous or maybe anisogamous or maybe oogamous. Already all these three headings we have discussed in the previous lesson. As you know, in the case of isogamy, the two gametes which are produced by the body, both the gametes are identical. They are morphologically same. One act as the male while another act as the female, and these two gametes fuse together to form zygote, and zygote develops into the new body, new thallus. What is anisogamous? In anisogamous, both the gametes, they are non-identical, but both they are flagellated. One is smaller in size and one is bigger in size. The smaller one is called male gamete and the bigger one is called female gamete. And both they fuse together to form again zygote. What is oogamous type of sexual reproduction? In oogamous, one is motile, one is very small in size. Both are non-identical. One is very small in size, that is called male gamete, and the male gamete is flagellated. It is also known as anthrozoids. And the bigger one is the female gamete, which is non-motile. The male gamete comes into the contact of the female gamete, which is stationary, which is non-motile, and both are fused together to form zygote. I am not going to discuss here again and again the same point, because yesterday I have already discussed all these headings, the methods of the sexual reproduction. You can see, in case of any doubt, the previous topic, the characteristics of the algae. You will get to know about isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous. So that's all regarding the characteristics of the algae. Characteristics. It's my humble request to each and everyone to make the proper notes also. In this chapter, in the third one, I have already taught you about the classification of the plant kingdom. All the three classification system, you have to make the proper notes, which are artificial, natural and phylogenetic. Then you will start what you have to write, the characteristics of the algae. Yesterday I have already taught to you. Then you will write the economic importance of algae, and today we discussed also about the classes of algae, and especially three classes are there. Out of three classes, today I have completed the first one, that is class Chlorophyceae. Again in Chlorophyceae, you will make all the points that why the members of Chlorophyceae, they are called green algae, what are their habitats, what is the thallus organization, what is the structure of the cell, what is the mode of reproduction, that is vegetative, asexual and sexual. Again you have to expand all these headings. So properly you prepare the notes, make so many points. I am also going through the NCERT contents, and accordingly you are also requested to make the proper notes. So that's all for today, and tomorrow I will teach you the next class, that is Phaeophysi, which will be followed by Rhodophysi. So thanks to everyone.